prospecting, quarrying, mining. Whatever you call it, the excavating and extraction of minerals and materials from rocks big and small have been a staple of sandbox games for a long, long time. Maybe it's the sense of exploration and discovery that accompanies these efforts. Maybe it's just revealing that which is hidden underneath. Maybe it's just shooting a cool laser at rocks until they explode and gives you something shiny. Whatever the case, mining in the Star Citizen universe is about to expand beyond ships like the Prospector and into the hands of players everywhere with the addition of first-person mining. Beyond just the caves we showcased last week, and in conjunction with the personal commodity system highlighted the week before, FPS mining and the collection of harvestables in general aim to bring new revenue streams for in-game profiteers, new emergent gameplay opportunities for those seeking to take what they didn't earn, and expand the current capabilities of our asteroids, plant life, and multi-tools already in the game.
For FPS Minables, we simplified the gameplay a bit. The first thing you guys will need to do in order to mine in FPS mode is get yourself a green multi-tool. You can buy a brand new one and buy also a mining attachment. You can swap attachment in Mobiglass, it's not a problem. You just swap them around, and once you do that, you will notice that you can go to ADS mode and you have an entire brand new UI. Obviously, you cannot mine the giant asteroid rocks that the ships can mine, and they cannot mine the tiny little rocks because they'll just explode if you use your giant prospector on them. So in order to find one of these rocks, the safest bet is to find a cave. If you can find a cave, you can start exploring and searching for this. There is no radar to find this. You'll have to find them just using your eyeballs. Once you find an FPS mineable and you point your green multi-tool to it in ADS mode, you will be able to scan it as you do with the ship mineable, and you'll get all the data, the instability, the resistance, the mass it has, and what it's made of. People that are familiar with ship mining, they'll find it very similar, and it has pretty much the same elements. We just streamlined it a bit and made it easier to read and more icon-based rather than text-based. The breaking of the rock, the fracturing functions exactly the same. But once you break it into pieces, you'll get crystal shards falling off on the floor, and instead of actually using a tractor beam to scoop them up, you can actually just put your hand on it, grab it in your hand, inspect the piece you've looted, and put it in your personal inventory. This is what's helping the player carry all of the stuff from a cave, the bottom of a cave or an asteroid, all the way to a shop. You are able to look at the personal inventory after looting objects, check out how much quantity of each you have, how much space you have in your personal inventory. Pretty much all armors will have some form of inventory included, but there will be certain armors they're specialized in this. They won't be as capable of doing other stuff, but when it comes to carrying stuff, they'll be basically the mule of the armors. Once you're filled up with material, or let's say you ran out of material because you harvested an entire area, there's no more valuable resources there, you can simply go to any of the shops that accept FPS minables, and instead of having to refine them at a refining kiosk, you can sell them directly. These are pretty much gems. We're talking pure gems that you extract out of the ground. They don't require lengthy refining process, you just sell them to the shop. Other ways of getting mining in FPS is either on asteroids. Basically, once you find them in your ship, you'll have to get out of your ship, EVA there, and there's risk involved because you might get caught. You will extract them manually, and once you extract them, you can get back into your prospector and blow that entire asteroid and collect what you were collecting before in your ship mineable. If you don't want to do the FPS mineable, you can go straight to doing the ship part, but you'll lose a lot of money out of this. The FPS minables in general are very valuable commodities. They're rare, but they're super, super valuable. So when you find them, you really want to pay attention to it. In the rare case that there will be some explorers out there that come without bringing a multi-tool, or they didn't just get the money to buy one yet, they'll be able to explore all these caves and planet areas and find various other harvestables that they can just loot directly. It doesn't require a fracturing mechanic or anything like this, or a special tool. You just go there and you can loot them. There's fruits now, there's various desert dry plants, there's trees that have stuff hanging off them, bushes, all kind of different things. There's even animal remains that hopefully you will find funny. We'll see. So all of this stuff hopefully brings a lot of gameplay for you guys, and it also hopefully brings you guys a lot of profit, because all of these things you can sell for money at shops. It's all up to you whether you want to mine, you want to gather harvestables, or you want to do both. It's all up to you. It depends on what do you think is more profitable to squeeze into your backpack, and what makes sense for you.
Last week, we explored the process of creating the proper soundscape inside the cavernous depths below Stanton's planets and moons. This week, continuing with our FPS mining theme, let's take a quick look at how the sounds of mining, previously exclusive to ships like the Prospector, can be brought down to a more personal scale.
For the FPS mining tool itself, we've kind of gone for a sci-fi approach, but also trying to keep it grounded, so there's a sense of realism as well as, so it's not too much like, say for instance, Star Trek or something like that. We try to convey the level of power that you're using with the rock, because obviously if you use too much, then the rock will be destroyed. If you use too little, you'll just never be able to mine anything out of it. So with the sound, we're trying to inform the player of when they're kind of in the right spot. Also, there will be sounds that the rock itself will make as it gradually starts to degrade from being hit with the laser, that should also inform the player of whether they're doing it correctly, if they're in the kind of right sweet spot. In this game, we've gone for a high level of realism and detail, which I think is something we're all proud of. Again, in audio, even if it's a very simple or small object, like a fruit that you've picked from a tree, we want to support every element of that from an audio perspective. So, you know, just the picking it to get a sense that it's been pulled from its root, or when it's dropped, and making sure it's not just one sound to represent that, but is, you know, dependent on the velocity or the speed that it hits the ground, whether it's rolling and so forth. Yeah, picking it up and the putting it down. Even in certain cases, the handling of the object, if it's relevant, if it has a contents, or if it's wet or it's dry, then when you pick it up and inspect the object, there should be some kind of audio feedback for that. It's really about just getting a very high level of detail and supporting the immersiveness of the game and making the player feel that they're grounded to the object that they're interacting with.
So what did we learn this week? We learned that FPS mining aims to open new avenues for economic growth to all players, especially the ones who don't fly a Prospector. That FPS mining isn't confined to the depths of Stanton's caves, but extends across the entire surface of its planets and moons, and even into the asteroids in space. And that if you're not interested in mining yourself, it's going to provide a lot of opportunities for more aggressive acquisition of materials. To our subscribers, our continuing thanks for making this show and others like it possible. And to all the Star citizens out there, before we let you go, we've got one more look at caves to show you that didn't quite make it in time for last week's show. It'll show you a bit more about where we're at with the lighting and atmosphere improvements. It'll include the new flashlight and a new usable glow stick that will be available when Alpha 3.7 goes live. Enjoy this, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertsspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.